In this video, we'll take a look at the different types of zones and areas available inside Command PE. We have two basic kinds of areas, and the most important thing is you have to remember all areas and zones must be defined by at least 3 reference points that create a polygon that can be easily modified. So in this case, we'll go ahead and create our first type of zone, which is going to be a no navigation zone. Now let's say we want to make one of these islands completely off limits for any sort of air activity or any sort of vehicles or ships or anything like that. We simply go ahead and define the area using any type of reference point method that you prefer. Select that area, now go up to missions plus ref points, no navigation, and hit create new from existing points. You'll now notice this entire region has been colored the color red. And we can also now go ahead and name this region. For this example, no one on the island, please. And we can even define whether or not different types of units are allowed through this item. In this case, nobody's allowed to go on this island. If we wanted to open this aircraft, particular island, only up to land units, for example, we could uncheck this box, which would now make it possible. We also have the ability to go ahead and make the no navigation zones visible. In this case, make sure every time that you make any changes, you click on the save button. In this one, I'll go ahead and lock the zone, which now means the player cannot edit it, which is very powerful if you want to use a no navigation zone, for example, defining an entire country where they cannot operate aircraft in and out of. We can then go ahead and make the reference points themselves invisible, in which case the player is only going to see this little red region when they're playing this normally and not inside the different types of zone. Now, if I try to order any sort of unit to go into there, for example, we'll go ahead and grab ourselves an aircraft real quick. Notice I cannot click to complete the commands. Likewise, if I order an aircraft to go through it, the aircraft will be smart enough to try to go up to the edge of it and then make its way around that particular zone, as you can see from that pathfinding little activity that it just did just a few moments ago. The other types of zones we have at our disposal are the no navigation, I should say, exclusion zones. These gives us the ability to automatically mark an object that passes through that zone as potentially hostile or unfriendly. For example, at my carrier group, or actually my LHD group, let's say I want to go ahead and define an area directly to the south of it as being if anything passes there, it is probably not a friendly unit. So what I'm going to do first is deselect everything in that particular zone. Now I'm going to go ahead and define the area. Control right click, define area. I'm going to go ahead and say anybody who passes through here who is an unknown target must be hostile. One of the great things about this option is we can actually attach it to this LHD. But in this case, we'll go ahead and keep it fairly fixed. I'm going to spread it out this way. I'll go ahead and bring it up to the coast so nobody can sneak by that way as well. Now I'm going to go up to missions and ref points, click exclusion zones, and click create new. Now you'll notice we have this new little line that appears around this zone. Any object that passes through this that is checked by these boxes and is unknown will automatically be flagged as unfriendly. Now, if we wanted to, we could go ahead and set a hostile, meaning any unknown object that passes through this zone will be marked hostile. Keep in mind, if we have a unit that has some sort of comms disruption pass through here that we don't know of, it could potentially be attacked. So it's something you want to be very mindful of. No-go zone. All right, I'm going to click on Save. Keep in mind with all types of zones, we have the ability to export them to a file or import them to a file. So if we made an entire country worth of reference points and we want to use that entire country as a reference, something we can go back to in the future, we can go ahead and press that option to go ahead and export as well as import. In this case, as a quick demonstration of what this particular object can do, let's go ahead and get ourselves some units and have them pass through that zone. All right, as you can see, we've automatically identified a particular bogey that is just a little bit outside of our little zone there. So we'll go ahead and I'll bring up the visibility of the zone so you can see it very clearly. And we can see what happens the moment that particular object passes into that zone. They were now marked automatically as hostile and will be engaged automatically. Again, this is an excellent technique we can use, and we can even make these reference points mobile should we need to in a particular scenario. Keep in mind there are other types of areas as well, and those areas are the ones going to be defined by missions, but that is covered in detail in the different types of tutorials dedicated to the individual types of missions.